Computer-generated chess problem 2481 by Chesthetica. White has 4 minor pieces, in particular 3 knights, against black's pair of pawns. But one of those pawns is on e2 and threatens one of the knights on d1. So how should white continue here? Maybe knight to f2, after which if black promotes, knight to c2 check wins the queen, because king to b1, knight captures queen, king captures bishop, and we have a very interesting endgame where white will probably win, but he needs to know exactly what he's doing in order to avoid a draw, or even losing if black somehow manages to promote the remaining pawn. Anyway, there's actually a mate in 4 here, and this is how the solution goes. So white plays knight to c3, threatening not so much the pawn on e2, but rather knight to c2 mate. So for example, if d5, knight to c2 mates. So there's only one way to prevent knight to c2, and that's with an under promotion to a knight. Now the white king is too far away to actually play a role in this solution, but the white knight on the h file is close enough, because white continues with knight f5. Now again, the threat of knight to c2 mate is still there, so the knight on e1 can't move. If it moves away, knight to c2 mates. Black only has one choice, which is d5. And now white plays knight to d4, stopping the pawn too. Black has no choice but to move, at which point white has many options of not only either knight on the a file or the d file to c2, but also knight to b3 mate. Now at this point, if knight to e3, this would give black the opportunity to play d4, which buys black a bit more time. So knight on the e file to c2 check, forcing the exchange, and mate, but only on the 5th move. So white's play is actually very precise from this original position. So once again, knight to c3, not really threatening the pawn on e2, but rather threatening knight to c2 mate. Black under promotes to remove the threat, and then the knight on the rim, which in this case is not so dim, moves to f5. Black only has one option. Notice how the black king has no squares to move to. So d5, white stops that pawn in its tracks, so the knight has to move away to anywhere really, which permits the checkmate. Until the next one.
Chesthetica's Book of Chess Constructs, Volumes 1 through 5. Available on Amazon.